Hello everyone. Hi Gleb. Welcome back on Monday. We have another podcast from series of podcasts we are doing for MD Help Tech. I think so. Today is a very important topic that we are covering. Today's topic is what is HIPAA.
Yeah, what is HIPAA and what is HIPAA, especially from IT security side?
Wonderful. Then how
Something.
we can implement HIPAA with the IT
Yes.
security.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. So I think so. Very first question is I don't know anything much about HIPAA. Before that, also, guys, is just a discussion. We are nowhere very expert in HIPAA. We have a working knowledge. So this is a disclaimer. Please don't take it as a 100% guaranteed confirmation. Do your own research. Also find out or try to work with a like any compliance group or company who specialize in HIPAA, because HIPAA has multiple aspects, not only IT but non-IT as well.
Yep.
And I think so, Gleb, we are doing a webinar with one HIPAA compliance company
Yeah.
who are trained, specialized, and go over a little bit about it.
Yeah, it's scheduled for next Monday. So in a week after this video, after this podcast, we're gonna have a person who has knowledge on this, and he works for the company that does HIPAA compliance.
Wonderful. So definitely very good. So with that, the very first question in HIPAA, whenever I go fill out the forms, one thing is very important, always written PHI.
Yeah.
What does PHI stands for?
Yes, so it's personal health identification. So, and it's something that is governed by HIPAA and something hospitals cannot share. Now, first of all, we have to understand what is PHI, what is considered to be PHI. So, PHI, it can be personal identifiers of a person. So it can be my name, which is Gleb, my last name Blackher, where I work, my SSN number, my health insurance number, my health insurance provider, my work address, my home address, my home phone number, my work phone number, like everything that kind of like revolves around me, and even I think emails is part of this. And then there's also health records. There's also cannot be shared. Like
Sure.
I did an MRI scan, cannot be shared. Like cannot be shared outside of the network, outside of who's interested. It's governed by PHI protection. But interesting thing that everybody have to know, it's like you can't really do anything about it, but just so like public knows about it. Hospitals are allowed to share the anonymized information. So if it's not traceable back to the person, so they can share my health records for studies, and I'm all for it. If they cannot track back to me, but with help of this data, they can solve issues like big issues like cancer or some other big diseases and illnesses. If I can help with my data, I'm all for it. But so just the public knows they can and they're allowed to share this. So
and there is a specific word for that. For that, is called D.
It's called. I think it's called D. It has to be untraceable. I forget the specific word.
Okay.
It just have to be untraceable back to the person. And this brings me on to our second question of today's podcast is, what are some common mistakes that you saw maybe in your practice or from your partners or from your friends that happened in dealing with the PHI and personal data?
Good question. So, Gleb, this is many times by knowing or unknowing, we make those mistakes. And some of the very common, very basic standard rules from security perspective, that you need to encrypt your data. When you are sending your data through email, it has to be encrypted. If your data is not encrypted, it means anyone can sniff it over the wire and get that information. So that is very important. Then access control. You need to give access who need that information. For example, I'll give you an example for that is if an accountant in the company, accountant doesn't need an email access. All the people email access. So you should not give that access to him. So give information to the person whatever is needed.
Yep.
Is that segregate or we call it also the word role-based access is very important, right? From an IT perspective, security patches, security vulnerabilities comes on very regular basis. You need to implement those security updates on very regular basis. Um, Lack of regular audits, and this is very important. And small and mid-sized clinics, I know you are overwhelmed because as a doctor, you are the owner, you are doing things, and then on top of it, you are also managing the whole place. So, an example, if your employee leaves and you will not remove his access, what will happen? It can be someone else can log in with that login ID and access. So doing a regular audit of your environment is also very important. So on and so forth. I will keep on going, backing up your data, securing data. Also, I think so under HIPAA compliance, uh, correct me if I'm wrong, but around for 6 years of data you need to save. You cannot let go anytime a compliance group or an HIPAA compliant governing bodies can come and ask you 6-year-old data. So you have to provide that email. If it is older than 6 years, that's okay, but at least minimum data backup and retention of 6 years is very important.
Okay.
So these are the things that you need to follow is very important.
So going on to our third question is, so whenever I go from doctor to doctor or I get a referral, for example, the new doctor has to get my information somehow, and somehow they have to communicate and share my PHI, and I'm willing, so I'm like obviously I want this to happen, but how do hospitals and clinics make sure that this PHI is secure? What should they follow?
So as I covered in my previous question, another in the same thing, one thing I will repeat, data encryption is very important. Plus, these days, it is kind of a mandatory requirement for any other compliance is MFA and 2FA. MFA is stand for multi-factor authentication, that your password or through email, through text message or something else, you will get the code. So you are multi-factor authenticate, or some people are using Google Authenticator, that is called 2FA. Those things are there. Other than that, again, device encryption is very important. Another thing is which is people are talking about is BAA, which is Business Associate Agreement, that you need to do with the partner, with people and the employees, that whoever are using the information, they are using information properly or not. So these are the couple of things which are very important. 2FA, MFA. Doctors, please make sure don't use any password only and you are not using MFA or 2FA. Enable that by default. It should be your second nature to start using. One thing we can cover is small how to as well in future podcast other than discussion is create your Google account. In your Google account has 2FA facility available and keep on adding it there. So, but also if you lose that, then you cannot log in. So you have to make sure that your 2FA is secure, the secondary codes are secure somewhere so you can use them. So these are the following things that you need to do definitely in order to make yourself from a HIPAA compliance perspective. VPN, virtual private network. So you have to have a encrypted traffic. It is dedicated and it is your own virtual private network. No one else is coming in. So those are the things that are important. So Gleb, another question which always come into discussion and doctors usually ask us when we go for HIPAA compliance with the doctors and the clinics, that how often they need to do the security assessments and the checks whether they are compliant or not. Do you have any?
Yeah, from my research and what I saw from a HIPAA website is that you have to do it annually. First of all, annually. Second of all, if you had some major changes to your platform, to how you treat data, and the third, which is the least fun one, but it's after some breaches that happen to your data.
It's no fun.
No fun at all. But at that time, you have to do I hope so that people do, that clinics do, that they follow up and see what happened and they do some risk assessment. But next week it's going to be an expert talking about this, so stay tuned. He'll answer all those questions in greater details, and he'll have much better answers.
Very good. So the most important is post-security incident
Yes,
assessment is also very important.
post security, exactly.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Let's go to the next question.
So, bad thing happened. It actually did, and it happens to everybody. Nobody's completely secure from that. What, in your opinion, should IT teams at hospitals do to clean up and after the post security
Incident.
Yes. What
Okay.
should they do?
So again, if the breach has happened, God forbid it should not happen with anyone, but definitely notifying the right government authorities. Make sure you document the process properly. If there is any fix need to be done, for example, security patches, do it right away. Working and cooperate with the government agencies to make sure you provide the right information so that government will also come in and investigate and help to get to the bottom line, and then review and improve your documentation. Consult with some compliance company who does this on regular basis, who will come and train your staff, training of the staff, talking to them, education. All those things are very important in order to, after the incident has happened. So again, follow the steps of what the government provided as guidelines.
Yep. So that kind of sums up everything we have to say. And I just wanted to say one last thing on this, is that HIPAA is not, it's a race with no finish line. So always there's constant improvement. And there's no, you can't just sit down and say, oh, I'm HIPAA compliant. You have to constantly improve, constantly check if there are some security breaches, potential breaches, if there are some patches that have been updated.
Training of your staff every year.
Yeah, training.
Right. Making sure your passwords you are changing every 30 days. So it's a continuous effort.
Yes.
Means audits, regular basis audits to look into it. There's nothing going through without notice.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Gleb, thank you very much for the time today.
Everybody, thank you. As I said, next week is going to be our partner. You'll meet him. He's a great guy, an expert in HIPAA and HIPAA compliance. Stay tuned, like, subscribe, and last but not least, we're now on Spotify. Go check us out there. Like, subscribe, and leave us a comment. See you tomorrow. Bye.
Bye.